What's going on, guys? George here again. So today we're going to be replacing the hazard and lock button on Tux E46 again. It's the 323 Touring, so it's a wagon, and it's actually very rare because it's a slick top, which is pretty cool. So for those of you who don't know what a slick top is, it's no sunroof. So first, to replace this, we're going to start by moving the cup holder. That just pulls out like that. And the change holder just unclips as well. I mean, you don't need to take it out, but for the sake of the video. So normally you could pull the shift knob off, but it's pretty tricky. So in this case, we're just gonna pull sideways like this. There's these little grooves here that clip onto the window switch trim. So then we'll just pull this up like that. So the only tool you really need is a Phillips head screwdriver or a flathead if you need to get any of this out, but you might break the trim. So there's two Phillips screws right here which hold in the window switch piece. So it's a little harder leaving this on, but I can just toss in gear and get that out of the way. But for any of you who have ever tried to take a shift knob off, you'll understand why. It's very difficult. Alright, so I got the first one out. Now the second one. Alright, toss those in the cup holder. So now that those are out, this just lifts out of there like that and exposes the plugs for the switches. So let's see here. Now that that's out, I don't think you need to remove those. It's probably just stuck in there like that. So now this exposes the switch underneath. And it's a little hard, so what we'll do is you'll remove the ashtray here. There's two more Phillips head screws down in here. So now these screws are rivet type, so once you back the screw out, it expands this and this can just be pulled right out. So put that in the cup holder, and then there's one more on the other side as well. So now that these two screws are out, this whole ashtray assembly will just lift right out of here. So now this cable you see right here is for one of the orange ashtray lights. Just lights up in here. So we'll put that out of the way. So now you don't really need to do this. You could probably get the switch out by doing it, but for the sake of the video, I'd like to show you how to pull the whole ashtray and armrest assembly out. So now there's two more Phillips holding the whole armrest assembly to the transmission tunnel. So we'll just pull those two screws out. One. The second one. So now this will just lift right up like that. So now you can just fit it around the e-brake boot. Alright, so now on this side, you'll see that it just plugs into the hazard and lock button like that. There's no release clips, it just wiggles its way out. So then on the sides, you'll see these two metal clips. Just squeeze them in. They're a little covered in probably coffee or something, so it's a little sticky, but they'll come right out. So now that that pushes out like that, you can take this, get rid of that. So now we have our new one. So before we go and put it in there, it's out of a used car. We'll go ahead and test that real quick. So now it has a little L right here that'll fit into this. So now that just clips right in like that. As you can see, now the flashes work, and we'll see if the doors work. That might not work if they're open. So now that works like it should. Unlock, lock, unlock, and then the flashers. It's probably locked. There we go. So normally you can just do it twice and it'll open the door if it's locked. So now that this is in, we'll go ahead and unplug it again and fit this back into the clip and make sure it's clipped in. And then we will go ahead and plug that back in until it clicks. So now we just turn this sideways to fit the e-brake boot back through there, and then feed the lighter wire up and through a smaller hole like that. So now those are lined up, these are lined up. So we'll go ahead and take our 2 Phillips screws and we will attach the armrest assembly back into the car. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to take the whole assembly out. I just did it for the sake of the video here. Alright, so now that this piece is attached at the rear again, you go ahead and take your ashtray assembly. You take the power harness for the ashtray light, put that in there, and then you simply slide that back down and like that. So then you take your 2 rivet style screws and you push them back into the holes, and that tightens the ashtray assembly down into the armrest assembly. So now that those, you want to push them down and then go ahead and tighten down the Phillips screw, which will expand the rivet. Then the second one. Alright, so then the last step to button up the back, you put your ashtray itself back in there and you put that down all the way, and that just pushes right in. You put the cover back over it. Now you can clip in your e-brake boot again, front first I believe. So now that that's in, tuck that back down like that. So now one of the last steps would be to you slide the front end first, and you'll put your 2 Phillips screws back in to hold down the window switch assembly. And some people really crank down on these, but I mean, you only really need to snug them, because then you end up cracking the trim here. So now that that's done, we'll take the car out of gear. We'll push our shift boot back down, just clips in like so. So now the last step would be to put in the change holder, which just clips in like that, and then the cup holder, the rear goes in first like that, and then just push down. And now you can enjoy working hazards for if your BMW is broken down on the side of the road, and you can enjoy your working door